Good evening, everyone. Once in a while here in Dumaguete City, we get a real treat from visits of people who come from other parts of the world, whose lives and talents clearly mirror their passions. Passions for social justice, the effects of war on societies, and other parallel advocacies. One such visitor is here with us tonight through Foundation University. Our guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a celebrated multi-awarded photojournalist whose works allowed him to capture images of the world, even the upheavals of various peoples living in the different parts of the world. He had been with the elite international photojournalist collective Magnum Photos, where he worked on assignments for National Geographic, Life, Time, People, Newsweek, New York Times, the Washington Post, to name a few. He has also documented the Million Man March, Lebanon during the Civil War, the lives of African Americans, the upheaval in Zaire, the U.S. military action in Panama, to name a few. Our guest tonight is a recipient of numerous awards, such as the World Press Award, the Overseas Press Award, the Neyman Fellowship at Harvard University, the Mark Twain Associated Press Award, and he was a runner-up of the Pulitzer Prize. He has also done numerous exhibitions through the years. To name a few, we have Reflections in Black and a history of the Black photographers from 1840 to the present. Our guest has written books which chronicles the lives of people in America and other parts of the world, such as Beirut, the City of Regrets, Homeless in America, Local Heroes Changing America, and this one has caught my attention, Poetic Justice, Filmmaking South Central Style. Our guest has lectured and taught extensively in various schools and universities in America. As a matter of fact, right now, he is a professor in advanced photojournalism in Austin, Texas. He has also worked extensively in the film industry in such films that are familiar to us here, Beautiful Mind, The Jackal, 2 Weeks' Notice, to name a few. In the Academy Award-winning short documentary, Mighty Times, The Children's March, his photographs recreated moments and the spirit of the civil rights movement in Alabama, which the film producer and director was considered integral and important part of the film. So ladies and gentlemen, our guest tonight, let us welcome writer, mentor, poet, photojournalist, Mr. Eli Reed. Eli, it's an honor for me to be with you.
Thank you.
So what brings you here?
Well, Louis and my friend Armando brought me here. It's spring break back in Texas, and we're talking about doing a workshop here, and photojournalism workshop, but not just photojournalism, glamour, sports, all kinds of things. And the school is such a fantastic place to be at, and Louis, part of the family, sort of led the way, and so here I am.
So here you are.
Yeah.
Did you have any expectations before coming here?
I try not to have any expectations, but my expectations I didn't. Well, I just like to be surprised.
Okay.
And this was a good surprise. This is a very good surprise. I mean, I just well, I knew of Louis, but I didn't realize he was a Louis I knew of before we met at the airport. You know, and fantastic guy, and you know, my man Armando, we've been friends for a long time, so it's like, you know, three amigos, you know, having fun.
You know, Alex Pal, a friend of mine, who called me a couple of days ago if I would be interested to talk to you. And he told me, Google him. And it was really a very interesting reading that I got.
Scary,
but as
right?
I run through some of the things that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to be very sure that what is written is exactly what it is. And you were telling me really that you have understood now that people like us who write about news sometimes do commit mistakes. And some of the things that we say may not really be that accurate. Let's talk about your journey as a photojournalist or someone that has a passion to be able to understand what is happening in the world. As you're telling me, you're not just taking pictures, you're trying to understand what these images are all about. So have you been exposed to, when you were young, have there been a lot of influences that allows you to move into this journey?
Oh, there certainly were. Like next door neighbor was president of the NAACP, and our families were sort of close. And I've always been a serious reader of everything I get my hands on. And the civil rights movement was going on then. And I've always been curious about the world and how it works. And I enjoy history, you know, what's gone down and what's going on, what may happen. And I always wanted to be there. So becoming a journalist, I didn't know that's where I was going, but I was also into painting, and you know, I studied French masters and the Impressionist painters and the classic painters, all the different disciplines. And
so you had a hunger for knowledge. Huh?
Absolutely. And
how young was that?
Boy, starting when I was probably just barely in first grade.
Really?
I went to a library once looking for a book called Crime and Punishment by a Russian author, and so the librarian took me to these legal books. No. That was not what I was looking for.
You were looking for Crime and Punishment.
But you know, the world is such a fascinating place, and people that are in it, we all have the same problems, different places, you know, different cultures. My family is poor, you know, and you know, was really poor, but you know, the world is out there for you to take. Explore. And you know, I was lucky, went to a decent school, you know, and which was encouraging, so that you can reach yourself into the void, sort of. You can take yourself out of the where you're at and look at other possibilities. Yes. And that's the best thing that can happen to you, and see how you fit in.
Right. Earlier, I was asking you whether you come from a religious family.
My mother was a serious at going to church. She was Baptist, but she sort of encouraged me to be open to everything. And we didn't really, I don't remember going to church that much, but I had friends that were different religions. You know, my best friend was a Catholic, and other friends that were Pentecostal, you know, but we never really talked about that. We were talking about just being, either being a person. So, and I've always been interested in the religion. Actually, at one point I thought about following a path that would end up with me being a Jesuit priest. but I was turned to the other side. No, not the other side, I'm joking. It just led me different places. I mean, I've been interested in all kinds of religions, Buddhism, you know, just you name it. I've been interested in how it works and what's going on there. So
how is this passion being driven? Where does it come from?
It comes from wanting to know, the knowing of the things, of how you fit in. You know, what does it mean when we're here on Earth? What are we supposed to do? We're here a short period of time. I think we talked about that a little bit. And so what are you going to do at the time that you're here? I'm interested in a lot of things some things I'll never. I'd love to go be on the first spaceship to some other planet to see what's going on there. Any place, just to see how people react, how people react everywhere.
Yeah, you've traveled through time, you know. A lot of things are changing. Government leaders have changed. Technology has changed, as a matter of fact, the first time that you've probably written the first book. So how do you look at the world at your vantage point right now?
Well, I took, during a year at Harvard Fellowship, for journalists, I took a lot of classes on history, economics. My first semester, I took 9 courses, which was a little bit crazy, very greedy. But one of the courses I took was on the history of war, from the Peloponnesian War to modern, you know, brush fire wars, all that kind of stuff. And it's so interesting because some of the things you learn, some head of a country had an argument with his wife the night before, so he declared war on somebody.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, there's like all kinds of silly things, but people being human beings and losing it and gaining it and doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing. It's like, it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
And so, what fascinates you now? When you travel, when you teach, because you know, as you're telling me, you love to teach because then the students will gain something from the experiences that you have.
Yeah, you send them out there, and I've taken students with me to various things, and like for example, President Obama's first inauguration. I figure if he's going to be the first black man there to become president, you know, it'd be nice to be in the town that he lives in, where he comes from.
Of course.
And also McCain, I wasn't that unhappy about him. He's he's an old man, but he's also from the time when the president represents everybody. So I saw there's a good man in there. So, but I wanted to see, you know, what was going on. It's a moment of history. So I took 5 graduate students with me, and I told them, you know, this is an important time. And I had 2 friends in Chicago, and we took them pizza the first night, you know, Thursday night before the elections next Tuesday. And then I started to scare the heck out of them, saying like, well, if something happens that's bad, you know, people may not be that crazy about seeing these students here. So, but on the other hand, at the end of it, I said, I love Chicago. I almost moved here once, you know. I got a sense of humor with it, but also, you know, keep it real. And they all did very well. They all did extraordinarily well.
The graduate students.
Yeah, they did well because they listened and they saw where I was going and just look, this is an important time in history.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest is Eli Reed, and we'll be back after this break.